Welcome back to Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo, and on this segment of the program, we are going to learn about the Morris County Division of Mosquito Control, and in particular, the work that it does during the winter. And here to tell us about the work that it does during the winter and about the division itself is my guest. He is Kris McMorland. Kris is the superintendent of the Division of Mosquito Control, which is part, by the way, of the Morris County Department of Planning and Public Works. Kris, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into some of the specifics about what it is that the division does during the winter, give us a little overview of the division itself and its mission.
Sure. The mission of the Division of Mosquito Control is to reduce the numbers of mosquitoes, especially specifically nuisance and disease-carrying mosquitoes. We do that in multiple fashion. We use a comprehensive, modern, environmentally friendly integrated mosquito program, which includes, treating with insecticides. We do water management projects. We do, a lot of public education and outreach, and some other forms of control, namely like biological control using fish and stuff.
Yeah. Now, we should mention too that you may be more familiar with the Morris County Mosquito Extermination Commission. This is the same group. It's just been folded into the Department of Planning and Public Works. We're talking pretty much about what the division does during the winter months. Is there a season, so to speak, for mosquitoes? And if so, when is that?
Yeah. I mean, the active mosquito season, when they're going to be out and we're actually out treating, it typically is from the middle to the end of March, with late spring, all the way through the end of October. I mean, you can find some stuff in the beginning of November, but by the time it's starting to get really cold and they're not really flying around. So that whole chunk of the year is when we're actually out treating for mosquitoes.
So if we have a mild fall, so to speak, a rainy mild fall, you would still run into problems? Yeah.
I mean, there's been times when we've had to treat mosquitoes on Halloween. So I mean, you're talking October 31st.
Now, so if we have a mosquito season that is spring, summer, and even into early fall, that leaves winter. So why do we not see mosquitoes in winter?
Well, mosquitoes are actually a fascinating creature to study, and we have 39 species here in Morris County, and each of them have their own overwintering strategy. Majority of them survive in egg form. So they are eggs that are laid maybe late September, early October, or actually any time through the season if they just don't hatch out. And they can survive, extreme weather changes, whether it's very cold, very hot, and they'll be out and, those eggs can last like 2 or 3 years without, and still be viable. That's the majority of them. That's the majority that are along like some of the river floodplains or inside of containers, the ones that really cause a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. The other strategy is they actually go into like a hibernation. So they'll actually come inside of a house, like a garage, down in a sewer system, and they just kind of go into a diapause or like a really light hibernation, and someplace that's warm and humid, and then they'll come. So every once in a while, you actually do see a mosquito in January. That's just because it's been fooled to come out of hibernation, but the joke's really on them. They're going to not really survive.
And these are the adult mosquitoes?
And those are adult mosquitoes, yeah. And there are some species, we really don't have them up here much, that will just survive as a larvae inside of the water. They'll just freeze, and then when it thaws out, they just keep going, doing whatever they were doing.
Now, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that one of the activities that the Division of Mosquito Control does really all year long is water management in an effort to control mosquitoes. What exactly is water management, and why is it so important to mosquito control?
Yes, water management is extremely important because with mosquitoes, everything is focused upon water. For the most part, mosquitoes need water to reproduce. So through water management, if we can actually get water moving, or if we can make it where fish can be introduced into a location naturally, or by us stocking or something along those lines, or we can just make sure that that water doesn't stagnate for about a week or so, that really helps out. Again, like you said, it's a year-round program. You know, you can do it year-round. It's a fantastic. In fact, even with the inspection staff, they'll actually go out and start doing smaller water management projects, you know, during the wintertime, and that's one of the things that we end up doing.
In terms of water management, what do you do to keep the water flowing in the streams and in and around Morris County?
Yeah, the main thing that we like to do is we try to fix systems that are broken, because, you know, a lot of these ditches and things were put in for a reason. So we'll go in and we'll actually try to clean them out, stabilize them, make sure that they're working, they're functioning correctly. The other thing that we'll do is we do help some municipalities or county owned stormwater facilities like basins, try to rehabilitate them so they actually function correctly. And we'll do everything from very large ditch systems, like we're actually working in the Morristown Airport Meadows right now, which is, you know, it impacts 3 towns, you know, and that's a big job that we're doing, to very small ones, you know, behind people's, you know, that run behind a couple of people's houses. You know, we'll try to hook them out and clean them out so that they function, you know, especially when we need it, like during the summertime or in the springtime.
Well, now in the winter, it's my understanding that one of your activities that you focus on is the removal of abandoned tires. Where do you find these tires, and why is removing them such an important effort on your part?
Well, again, it goes back to water. If you think about it, abandoned tire sitting in the middle of the woods, what's it doing? It's sitting there collecting water, and what's it doing? It's producing hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes per year per tire. So while we go around actually treating during the summertime, during the springtime, and in the fall, we actually make notations where these tires are located, and then come when, like November or October, depending on what the season brings, we'll go around and we'll actually collect illegally discarded tires. Now, this is a program that we work jointly with the Utilities Authority on, where they actually funded through some Clean Communities grant monies for recycling, and we do a lot of the labor. It's really a win-win situation for everybody. One, we're actually eliminating lots of mosquito habitat. You know, a couple of tires can really make a neighborhood or at least a yard or two, very miserable if they happen to be in the woods behind and nobody knows about them. Plus, it's from an environmental standpoint where, you know, it's nice to recycle and appropriately put these tires where they're supposed to be.
Do you have any idea how many, since you've been doing this, any idea as to how many abandoned tires you've found?
Yeah, as of yesterday, I mean, we've been doing this program since 2001. We've collected 59,500 tires. So, I mean, we're really pushing for that 60,000. But think about it, that's 60,000 mosquito habitats that are gone, tires that are, you know, not sitting out in the woods or around people, you know, along the streets anymore.
Yeah.
So,
boy. Now, you also mentioned, Kris, that the Division of Mosquito Control has an active public education program, public outreach program. What are some of the ways that you and your staff get out into the community?
Okay, yeah, any really good integrated mosquito program is going to have a public outreach program, and we have a very active one. I mean, last year alone we did 23 community events or health screenings. We do everything from farmers markets, we've been to Boy Scout expos, we do, you know, some kind of health or safety screenings. You know, we'll set up a booth and try to do a lot, some public education one-on-one with people walking by. We also work with the health departments and try to do literature drops in neighborhoods, specifically ones that we know we're having some issues with certain mosquitoes, you know, Asian tiger being a prime mosquito that we have a lot of problems with.
Now, a lot of these events take place either in the spring or summer and the fall. What about the winter? Does the public education program continue during the winter months?
Yeah, not as heavily, because there's just not as many events going on. You know, a lot of the communities aren't putting out, you know, having wintertime events. The fall has quite a few, and then during the summertime there's always quite a few. You know, but you know, if asked to come out and do a presentation, we're more than happy to come out and talk.
You mentioned Asian tiger mosquito. What is this species, and why should we be concerned about this?
Yeah, the Asian tiger is one of those invasive species that's really kind of found a home in certain parts of the county. The problem with it's a very aggressive mosquito. It's very difficult to get rid of, and it becomes pest number 1. I mean, this is one of those container type breeders that, you know, takes advantage of any vessel holding water, including bottle caps. I mean, you know, they've found them in bottle caps breeding in people's yards. So, It's really one where we need to have the neighborhood to buy into the program of cleaning up and policing yards.
And that's a year-round effort.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your staff, Kris. Besides you and the division, what are their specialties?
Well, we have a very dedicated staff that ranges from everything from a laborer that's actually out cleaning up the ditches, all the way up to wetland specialists that are working on permits and supervisors and equipment operators. We have identification specialists who do a lot of biological work. We're working on different types of traps and checking on efficacy of our program, how it goes. We have the inspection staff. But the nice thing is everybody's very dedicated and really wants to, takes it to heart to try to really help people out in controlling mosquitoes.
And you do mosquito control work in all 39 communities. So this is a service that is offered by the county government to each of the towns in the county, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We have inspection books for every municipality within the county. We'll do water management projects. The only boundary we have is the Morris County border.
In the mosquito season that passed, 2014, any major problems, any major concerns besides the Asian tiger?
Really, the Asian tiger
Okay.
was the worst. I mean, last year, if you think about it, it was a pretty wet spring. We were pretty busy up until about June. But then it became like a drought situation. We really had a lack of rain. So again, with no precipitation, we were able to address a lot of issues very fast.
Okay.
But the Asian tiger's just, oh boy.
So when in 2015 will we be seeing our first adult mosquitoes out there?
Well, it all depends. I mean, it's again, it's kind of hard to predict the weather, but if it's a really nice warm March, I would say we'll be out treating, and by beginning of April, you should start seeing some stuff on the wing.
Wonderful. Kris McMorland, I want to thank you very much for being with us today. I also want to give you some contact information. If you would like to reach out to the Morris County Division of Mosquito Control, you can do so by calling 973-285-6450. You can also visit the website because there is a lot of information about the division and what you can do to help prevent mosquitoes on the website, which is morrismosquito.org. Now, if you have a question about Morris County government that you would like to have answered, you can call the Morris County Freeholders Office, and that number is 973-285-6010. And why don't you visit the county government's website as well? That's morriscountynj.gov. Once you're there, you can sign up for the county's electronic newsletter, and you can also check out the various social networking sites that Morris County government uses. I'm Joe Garifo. I want to thank you very much for being with us.
Are you pregnant, scared, or a new mother who can't care for your newborn?
There's a safe haven in New Jersey.
You or a friend can bring an infant to any hospital or police station and give up custody safely, legally, and anonymously.
No questions asked. No shame, no blame, no names.
Call 1-877-839-2339 or visit njsafehaven.org to learn more. Remember,
New Jersey has a safe haven for unwanted infants.
Brought to you by the New Jersey Department of Children and Families.
Welcome back to Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo, and on this segment of the program, we are going to focus on the Morris County Park System and some of the activities that are going on within the parks here in Morris County. There's always lots to talk about when it comes to our park system. And here with me today is my guest. He is David Helmer. Dave is the Executive Director of the Morris County Park Commission. Dave, welcome to the program.
Thank you for the invitation.
As I said, there's always lots to talk about when we talk about the Morris County Park System. But before we get into some of the specific activities going on, just give us a little overview of the park system itself.
Sure. The park system was established in 1956 by voter referendum by the residents of Morris County. It has 9 volunteer commissioners appointed by the Board of Chosen Freeholders. And I'm the executive director of the park system. We're responsible for stewarding somewhat close to 19,000 acres of open space in Morris County. And the properties are 38 distinct properties, and they range from Menin Sports Arena to the golf courses. We have 4 golf courses, 7 national and state historic sites, 150 miles of trail, indoor-outdoor rental facilities for picnics, weddings, and such. So it's a very diverse park system, probably one of the more diverse park systems in New Jersey.
Now, one of the newest facilities of the Morris County Park System is known as Central Park of Morris County. It's located in Parsippany. Now, when this facility was dedicated back in 2008, what did it include then?
Well, in 2008, it included a number of the older buildings that were part of the Greystone Psychiatric Facility, but also the develop of a new recreation area. So on the property there are 2 inline roller skating rinks with sports lighting. They're flooded in the wintertime for ice skating, but they're also used for much more than hockey. We've got kids playing soccer in the rinks and box lacrosse and a number of different activities. There was also a softball field that was on the property that we cleaned up and fixed up, and it's used by a lot of adult leagues throughout the year. And an interesting playing field. It's called a Challenger League field, and what it is a rubber-based field and designed for those who are not fleet of foot, those that may be wheelchair-bound or in crutches, so that they actually can play baseball and softball and have a flat surface. It also comes along with a restroom facility on the property. And what was previously there was a natural amphitheater that we made improvements for, so if somebody wanted to have a concert series or a poetry reading, they could do that on the property.
And I should mention, you mentioned Greystone buildings. I should mention that the property, Central Park of Morris County, was at one time deemed excess property by the state. It had been owned by Greystone, and Morris County purchased that property, and hence we now have Central Park of Morris County. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit from 2008 to today. How has Central Park of Morris County grown over the years?
Oh, it's evolved in so many different ways. The property is about 300 acres of land. Only about 65, 75 of those acres are actually being developed for active recreational pursuits. The rest of it are more passive in nature, forested tracts of land and hiking trails. But on one side of the property we now have a Frisbee disc golf course that goes through the woods that a group of volunteers actually helped develop. And then on the property was an old ice pond where ice was cut during the winter time to help the property and the residents on the property, and now we have a stone dust trail around that pond, heavily used. We also have 4 artificial turf athletic fields with sports lighting that are basically used almost every hour of the day except when kids are in school all season long. So that's for soccer, lacrosse, girls lacrosse. We've had rugby tournaments up there. We also now have a large picnic shelter or tent on the site, so a family or group could rent the shelter for those activities. We have a 5K cross-country loop on the property that was actually helped started by a local high school cross-country coach, and so that property now hosts the Junior Lakeland cross-country program, which has about 1,000 children racing every Sunday in the fall in the high school programs. We also have an off-leash dog park area. It's about a 5-acre dog park area. As part of the artificial field construction project, there's about 1.1 mile of paved trail. Somebody's used to our traction line or Lewanika Brook Reservation. It's similar to that. And we had a great sponsor 2 years ago, Daiichi Sankyo out of Parsippany, donated 100 cherry trees on the property. So we are every year adding more cherry trees to the site to bring it back to life again.
Now, in September of 2014, still another facility was dedicated at Central Park of Morris County. It's a playground that all children can use. I don't know if you call it an all-access playground.
That's correct.
What can you tell us about this?
Well, it's an interesting activity. An individual from Morris Township came to the Park Commission one day and had expressed that her child, who's wheelchair bound, doesn't have a lot of opportunity to participate in activities, outdoor activities, with other children, and was looking for a playground area that was accessible, but accessible in such a way that the children who are wheelchair bound are actually at play with the rest of the children. We have other play forms that have amenities, but the child who's wheelchair bound is really not part of that group. So it's an all-access playground, and it's designed where if somebody's in a wheelchair, there's a special swing that the wheelchair itself goes into, right next to the swings of the other children. The decking that goes from one tower to another tower is all accessible with a ramp. So the children who are wheelchair bound are part of the play with the rest of the children using the property. The surface that you walk on or wheel on is accessible for wheelchairs. So it's a really, really neat improvement to the site.
The Park Commission had some partners, I guess, to help in the funding of this playground. What can you tell us
Correct.
about
Well,
that?
the Park Commission has a nonprofit association related to it, the Alliance for Morris County Parks, and they're the ones that took over this initiative and raised a little over $300,000 to install and design the playground. And the seed money, the first set of funding actually came from the NFL Hometown Huddle program through the Jets Play 60 effort, getting kids back out and playing outside and not on their computers. And that really started the whole fundraising initiative in cooperation with the United Way of Northern New Jersey, a number of local known family foundations throughout Morris County, the Christopher Reeves Foundation, even all the way down to the Girl Scouts who donated funds from fundraising drives, to siblings of some of the children that actually play on the playground and raising fundraising campaigns. So they raised over $300,000 to have this playground, which is now open to the public.
Now, if someone wanted more information, by the way, and at the end of this segment, we'll give you all the contact information for the Morris County Park Commission, including the Park Commission's website. You can go on the website and find out information about any of the Park Commission facilities here in Morris County. Now, the Park Commission operates 4 golf courses, and this year, I believe 2014, was the first time that all 4 golf courses were being run by a private firm. How did that come about, and how has it worked out?
Sure. 2 years ago, we sought to bring an outside firm in to run one of the golf courses. With increased operating expenses, salaries and wage expenses, and benefit costs, the way in which the Park Commission needed to operate its golf courses to continue to provide a great product to the golfer at an affordable rate, we decided to go out and solicit proposals. In our trade, it's a request for proposals, and we went out and had solicited and received about 10 different proposals from entities that operate golf courses specifically in the Northeast. The company that was awarded the contract 2 years ago was Billy Casper Golf. It worked out so well after the first 2 years at Berkshire Valley Golf Course in Jefferson, we decided to move forward and have the other 3 facilities go out to an RFP, and Billy Casper was awarded that contract also. And what it does in this day and age, especially with competition in golfing, is a strong marketing campaign. Billy Casper Golf is a well-known operator throughout not just this country but internationally, and their ability to attract golfers to the property was very important, and it propelled the Park Commission's facilities into the eyes of golfers throughout the region. And it's worked well. Play has stabilized, and it's been an unusual golf industry over the last number of years. The courses are in great conditions. The properties are all owned and still are owned by the County of Morris for park purposes and stewarded by the Park Commission. And that should be known also. It's really a management company that comes in and operates and runs the facilities.
Yeah. Now, Morris County has what is called a Preservation Trust Fund. Monies from the Preservation Trust Fund are used to preserve open space, farmland, protect our water resources. The Park Commission also receives some dollars from the Preservation Trust. What are some of the ways that those dollars have been used by the Park Commission?
The way the Park Commission sees the Preservation Trust funds is a way to stabilize, improve, and provide additional amenities to the park users and the residents of Morris County. So at Men and Sports Arena, it's a 3-seated ice skating facility. We make improvements to the lighting system using these Park Improvement Trust dollars. So for example, 10 years ago, the electric bill at Menon Arena was $750,000 a year. By making improvements to lighting and equipment, it's now down to about $400,000 a year. We also use these funds to help with matching grants from state and national historic trusts. So the historic speedwell where the telegraph was perfected, the restoration of the factory building there, we use the Park Improvement Trust money as seed money, but we're able to get a federal Save America's Treasures grant for $600,000. And it's used across the park system, from trail improvement projects to infrastructure improvement projects to playground renovations to picnic shelter construction. But we try to, once again, leverage those dollars from grants and from other financial resources.
And the park system, with all of its facilities and amenities, draws how many people a year? I want to say a couple of million. Is that?
Well, we from a backup perspective, we have about 3.5 million visitors a year. But as you know, we have over 150 miles of recreational trails, and there are many residents that access these trails. And we think that number is significantly more. In fact, we're beginning to install trail counters to help give us an idea of the flow of traffic. But 1 million people a year at Men in Sports Arena, for instance.
Yeah.
And the Central Park of Morris County had gone from 25,000 people a year kind of playing hockey in the courts. Now we think that number is going to be close to 300,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, it certainly is a magnificent park system, and you really should, if you have not yet taken advantage of any of the facilities in the park system, do so. I'm going to give you some contact information for the Morris County Park System. You should also know that the Morris County Park Commission recently moved. They went from the Frelinghuysen Arboretum to the Morris County Cultural Center, which is a facility of the Morris County Park System, and that is at 300 Mendham Road in Morris Township. If you would like to find out more information, you can call 973-326-7600. There is a County Park Commission website, which is morrisparks.net. And you can also email if you have a question about anything related to parks here in Morris County, and that is info@morrisparks.net. Dave Helmer, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Now, if you have a question about Morris County government that you would like to have answered, you can call the Morris County Freeholders Office, and that number is 973-285-6010. Visit the county government's website too, morriscountynj.gov. And once you're there, you can also take advantage of the many social media that Morris County embraces: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you're looking for some county government documents, you'll probably find them on Scribd. And if you would like to check out some pictures from Morris County government events, check out our Flickr page. I'm Joe Garifo. Thank you very much for being with us. Tune in again next week at this time, won't you, for another edition of Focus on Morris County.